Okay, guys, we had an idea that we wanted to try since the new Child's Play movie is in theaters and has been splitting people down the middle because it is a reboot of a franchise that is still going on right now. But still, it's a movie and corporations have to make money off it somehow. So we decided, fuck it, let's sit down and watch all the Child's Play movies.
It was a mistake.
It was a horrible, horrible, horrible mistake. Because you do not watch these movies all at once, or you will want to fucking kill yourself.
You want to kill yourself just by hearing Charles' voice.
Yeah. Now, we're gonna go ahead and say this right now. Child's Play as a series is not bad.
No.
No, in fact, I feel like if you individually sit down and watch certain movies, you'll probably really like it. Some people really love Chucky as a character, and they love the franchise. Brad Dourif is always amazing as the character. You can tell he has a lot of love for it.
Yeah.
But it is not a binge-watching horror series at all. It gets very, very tiring after maybe about third or fourth.
Once you get 4 movies in, then you just break down mentally.
Yeah, it is not the best. No. So we're gonna go ahead and just get started on the first movie, Child's Play. Obviously came out in 1988, sparked off the whole killer doll, horror movie trend that movies like Dolly Dearest and shit like that try to make money off of. Relatively decent idea. Kids are scared of dolls, and you want to really aim horror franchises more towards traumatizing children. So, fuck it, okay? First movie did what it did. And first movie is definitely the most simple.
Yeah.
And it definitely has a lot of charm to it.
Yeah.
Where, compared to a lot of the other ones, it's a lot more subdued.
Yeah.
And we'll go ahead and get into discussing the story and all that, because this movie's like fucking 30 years old at this point.
Yeah, we're gonna pretty much spoil all of the movies.
Every single one.
Yeah.
So, first movie is obviously about notorious serial killer Charles Lee Ray, played by Brad Dourif, who's in all the fucking movies. Yeah, he is gunned down in a toy store after cops corner him, and he puts his soul into the body of a doll so he can live on and eventually find a way to become human again. Then he ends up getting into the possession of a little boy named Andy Barkley, played by, I want to say his name is Alex Vincent.
I think so.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and say Alex Vincent, fuck it.
Yeah, believe it or not, we binge-watched him yesterday.
We binge-watched him yesterday, then we just had to we had to take a break. We had to think about something else. Yeah. So, there is a lot to this movie that's pretty likable. It's directed by Tom Holland, the dude who made Fright Night, which pretty good vampire movie.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking good. And there's a lot of fun to this movie. There's a lot of effort, really.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You can see it just in the very beginning, once they actually get Charles.
Yeah. Just the way the toy store fucking explodes and the first kill of the movie. Like, there's a lot of special effects to that. Really, the first movie had a lot going for it, and the only real problems with the first movie are the fact that Andy, the actor who plays the little boy, you can tell he's still really little. He's maybe 5 or 6. So his acting is just not really the best, but it's
really
completely reasonable.
Yeah, he's still just a kid.
Yeah, he's still a really little kid. And the actual animatronics on Chucky are not the best compared to some of the later ones.
Yeah.
It can feel very stiff, very just... Yeah, they had to slap some face on him, and fuck it, who cares if it always matches.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just not really up there compared to a lot of the other movies. And surprisingly, not really that much gore.
No, not at all.
Yeah, there's definitely some knife wounds. The voodoo guy dies pretty horribly.
Yeah.
But a lot of that's more suggested. Like, you don't see Chucky ripping his arms off or anything like that. He's breaking his bones.
Yeah, you don't see much blood. I think the only blood you see in that kill is after he stabs the voodoo doll.
Yeah, and they find him later and he's bleeding to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a completely different position, having his arms unbroken.
Yeah.
Arms and legs unbroken.
Yeah. And really, it's a pretty good movie. I like it. I don't personally consider it the best of the franchise, but I can definitely see why some people can call it their favorite.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very self-contained. It's a very simple story. It goes by super quick. It wastes no time on the pacing.
Yeah, I think it's a 90-minute movie.
And
it didn't feel like that at all.
Yeah, all of them are 90 minutes, but this one feels like it goes by in an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just a really interesting relationship between Chucky and this really little kid where this becomes like a staple in the franchise, but you always have Chucky manipulating somebody, getting him to do what he wants. And in this one, you really understand how deep that can go, where you have this manipulative serial killer talking to this little kid to take him to places and all that, because Chucky can't physically go places by himself. And it's interesting to see. You know, it is neat, and kind of seeing how people kind of start putting pieces together and figuring out what's going on. My only real problem is this is always a problem in every single one of the movies, but there are those weird logic jumps. And I don't mean like in typical horror movies where it's like, oh, someone died, there has to be some serial killer coming after us all, blah, blah, blah. Like in some of the Friday the 13th ones where they either don't question why half their group's missing, or holy shit, someone's missing, someone's killing us off one by one, shit like that. Now, this is like, hey, this lady got pushed out a window after having her skull caved in. A 6-year-old child must have done that because his footprints were in sugar. It's like, dude, come on. He's 6. He can't even say he can't even say the word homicide.
Yeah, much less like throw a fully grown woman out.
Yeah, and the fact that didn't they find fingerprints from Charles Lee Ray?
Yeah, I don't remember if it was in this movie or if it's brought up in the second movie. But they do find Charles Lee Ray's fingerprints whenever Chucky does shit.
Even though he's supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
And no one questions, like, maybe Charles didn't die, maybe he faked his death, maybe, you know, someone, you know, because he is a manipulative serial killer, you don't know. Maybe he found some guy that looked like him, killed him, and put him in his place. Like, you know, that's something where if you see the fingerprints of a dead serial killer, you have to assume that's a possibility.
Yeah.
But no, blame the fucking kid.
Yeah. There's also, like, leading into the second movie. The second movie picks up directly where the first one leaves off. But
almost like a day or two, yeah.
Yeah. But what happens is, of course, they kill Chucky because...
they blow him to pieces.
Yeah, Chucky gets fucked up in all of these movies.
Yeah, like, especially the original trilogy, there is just such a sadism against Chucky.
Yeah.
Like, he gets his ass beat.
Yeah. They absolutely fucking hate him for some reason.
Yeah.
But he gets blown to pieces and his blood is, like, on the wall.
Yeah.
And they're like, do you believe me now that the fucking doll is real? And he's like, yeah, but who's gonna believe me? And it's like, literally, the blood is on the wall. Just
the doll
test
bleeds.
it. Please test the blood.
Yeah, the doll fucking bleeds.
But no, you're all fucking insane.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely the first movie. Simple, nice, contained little story, and it's pretty good for a Halloween watch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't consider it the best, but it's fun.
Yeah, it definitely stuck to like horror movie roots, where it didn't like Chucky has his one-liners,
yeah,
and he still has his personality.
Yeah.
And probably my favorite like line in the series, whenever the mom is threatening to fucking burn him alive if he doesn't move.
And he just freaks the fuck out.
He just freaks the fuck out on the mom. That's the most memorable line from all of these movies for me.
Oh, it's brilliant, yeah. So now, Child's Play 2.
Oh no.
Oh, dear sweet Christ. Okay, let's keep moving. Now, I actually like Child's Play 2 more than the first one.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's the first movie, but just a bit more upgraded. It definitely has its problems, but I like it because it does try to fix some things that were wrong with the first. Like, right out the gate, Andy, you know, it's the same kid to my knowledge.
Yeah.
He is way better at acting.
Yeah, he's still definitely a kid actor, but he's leagues above the first movie.
Yeah, like he's significantly better. Kind of can really come into his own with his personality, and you see where his character left off from this, where he's fucking traumatized by what happened to him.
Yeah.
And basically the story to this one is it's right after the events of Child's Play 1. It follows the company that created the good guy dolls, the doll that, you know, fucking Chucky possessed, trying to literally just cover up everything that happened. They somehow got the police to deny all the evidence that was left behind after the final scenes in the apartment at the end of the first one. And apparently the two detective guys completely fucked the mom over and said, no, this bitch is crazy, lock her up.
Absolutely fucking insane. Take her kid away, fuck it.
Yeah, it's like, no, lock her up, she's just nuts. It's like, you fucking assholes, that doll nearly killed you.
Yeah, but he's gone now.
Yeah, and to me, as stated, this is just the first movie, but better, because even Chucky is visually just significantly better. His animatronics are a lot better. The gore is a lot more visceral and nasty. Like,
yeah, the kills are more creative in this as well, definitely.
Yeah, and obviously it's still Brad Dourif. He's in as stated, every single one, he knocks it out of the park every time. He is Chucky. He's the one that gives him his personality.
Yeah.
I mean, without Brad Dourif, I don't think this series would be anywhere near what it was.
Yeah, and we're as well. I just want to bring this up. As of right now, we haven't seen the newest Chucky movie in theaters.
We have not seen the remake. We are definitely going to at some point.
Yeah.
And at some point soon. It's just we haven't gotten around to seeing it because we wanted to get through these first.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big ooh, hurrah.
So we don't actually know how well Mark Hamill does the voice in the newest one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know how well Mark Hamill does in the newest one.
And I'm sure he'll give his best. It's just can that really compare?
No, not. I can tell you right now without seeing the movie, not at all.
Yeah. So all I can say about Child's Play 2 is it's definitely a lot more creative with some of the kills in this, and it really does play with the idea that Chucky's on a time limit. He has to get to Andy at some point.
Yeah.
And what I do like is it does fuck around with the idea that the Good Guy doll is a massive franchise.
Yeah.
So this is something that Andy can't really escape from, even though he was fucking traumatized, because the big event in this is that he was removed from his mom and put into a foster home, has to adjust to this new foster family.
Yeah.
And the foster family, you can tell they're just trying, they're trying to take care of Andy. They're trying to take care of this other girl that's staying with them. All I can really say is this comes up a lot where everyone acts as though Andy is some, fucked up, barely holding himself together, on the verge of a mental breakdown kid. It's like,
yeah,
not really. That's kind of self-fulfilling prophecy logic where you keep excluding him because you think he's fucked up and disturbed, and all you're doing is making him fucked up and disturbed.
Yeah, they also act like the dad brings it up multiple times that, they're not equipped to handle taking care of a kid like that. And it really makes it sound like, well, when Andy snaps, he's going to just absolutely eviscerate all of us. And it's
and that does come up later where, for some reason, the mom thinks Andy killed the dad.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you fucking stupid?
Yeah, she's in hysterics. She refuses to let Andy see the dad right after he dies.
Yeah. Once again, it's those weird logic jumps that are just in all the movies.
Yeah. They're definitely in every single movie. There's always some weird shit.
There's always at least one weird jump of, hey, you did this, or hey, this happened, therefore X. It's like, fucking what?
Yeah, and sometimes the logic jumps can be entertaining and help with the movies.
Sometimes it can be a lot of fun, yeah.
But in this one, it just kind of pisses you off, and you're like, what do you think this kid did? Like, your husband fell down and broke his neck.
And you can see Andy standing in the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
Far away from his body. What could he possibly do?
Yeah, at this point, your husband was just an idiot and fell down the stairs as far as you're concerned.
Yeah. And really, it is a fun movie, but you know how the first one is very, as stated, very quick, very get it done, get it done, get it done?
Yeah.
This movie can take a little while in the middle.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of like, okay, Chucky, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's like the beginning of it was actually, it actually went by pretty quickly, considering it was just recapping stuff from the previous movie and setting up everything for this one. And it's actually in the middle part where I think Chucky does the most,
yeah, because
Chucky's just harassing Andy.
Yeah, he fucks over Andy, he kills his teacher, he does a lot of stuff, I'm not even going to deny that. It's just the fact that it feels like getting from point A to point B is quick, to the point, get it done, get it done, get it done.
Yeah.
B to C is kind of where it's like, where the fuck you going? Where's this all heading? It can feel a little like Chucky's wasting his time.
Yeah.
Especially since he has plenty of opportunities to get Andy alone.
Yeah.
And he just kind of gets fucked over by one convenience over another, which I don't hate conveniences in movies. Some people downright despise them and think if you put a single convenience in a movie, then out of nowhere you fucked everything up.
Yeah.
I don't think that, so long as it's well, I can understand it.
Yeah, this one I could understand, you hating it a lot more, because it, the series as a whole has a whole lot of conveniences that just show up and happen.
If you go in to a Child's Play movie expecting top tier writing, you're a fucking idiot.
You come there for Chucky.
You come there for Chucky, and you come there for gore.
Yeah, and I do gotta say I love the way that the second movie is actually shot. There's
a lot of really interesting camera angles.
Yeah.
Like I said, it kind of makes it feel a lot more twisted.
Yeah, especially the teacher kill whenever Chucky kills the teacher with the yardstick.
Yeah, that was
great.
And
it just keeps zooming out further and further and further.
And you can still see the yardstick coming up and down, up and down.
Yeah, you're way out in the past the fence of the schoolyard, and you can still look in a window and you just see the fucking shadow.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and I do like the ending a lot, even though it completely reinforces our point of just
they hate Chucky.
Yeah, we call it serial killer sadism. It's like they fuck Chucky up so bad you actually feel bad for him.
Yeah, Chucky just feels like a cautionary tale in these movies of like, listen, if you want to be a serial killer, you have to be meticulous. If you're not, then you're gonna get fucking destroyed by some 8-year-old kid.
8-year-old kid and some 16-year-old blonde chick that smokes all day.
Oh yeah.
It's like Chucky is obviously at a disadvantage with being a killer doll, and with it's not even just the whole killer doll aspect. It's the fact that they know he's a killer doll.
Yeah.
So he can't like manipulate people or do anything against them. He's pretty much fucked. Yeah. Andy knows the secret. They know to fuck him up. All this. So Chucky really has to resort to like old school ways of like holding a knife to someone's throat and getting them to do shit. And that only lasts so far when they're like, well, you're a fucking doll. So who gives a shit?
And it's very weird. Like it's never outright stated like how strong Chucky is.
That's always something that changes a lot between these movies.
Yeah, I feel like at one moment he can overpower like a grown man, and then in another movie like someone can hold his entire body down with one arm. Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, it's never been too concise. It just feels like whatever the script needs. Yeah. Which, as stated, these are dumb movies anyway, so who gives a fuck? Yeah. Alright, and the way they kill Chucky at the end is just so fucking cruel. Oh, yeah. He gets chopped to pieces, he gets melted by molten plastic.
He gets multiple arms, like, he has to rip his own legs off to escape having, like, multiple arms and legs just shoved on him.
Yeah, and then Andy just fucking explodes his head. That's not even talking about the fact that they pierced his nutsack to a board.
Yeah, they like stapled his nuts because he is anatomically correct, which we find out later on in the later movies. Yeah, they just staple his nuts to a board with the hair that's supposed to be on the doll's heads.
Yeah, and then he gets sent into the fucking limb machine, and it's like, God damn it, just let Chucky kill you. This feels really wrong.
Just give him a win, man.
Yeah, he needs this. Chucky had a hard life.
Chucky's had a hard life. Yeah. And the actual final kill for him, where it's actually the girl. I can't quite remember her name.
Carrie or something.
Yeah, I think it's Carrie. But the girl that's in the foster home with Andy, I think she's the one who actually like feeds the hose into Chucky's mouth. Yeah. And it blows him up, his head up, and it's great.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it was really good effect, and the gore was really nice for that one.
Yeah, the gore just gets better in these movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Child's Play 3.
Yeah, I think this one was my least favorite out of these.
It is definitely the weakest of the trilogy. I'm not too sure about the weakest across all the movies, but to say that it's definitely a downgrade compared to some of the other ones, yeah, that's very true. Yeah. Because this one takes place definitely, like, at the very least, a few years after Child's Play 3.
2.
2 years?
No, Child's Play 2.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. Sorry, I fucked up. So, this takes place a few years after Child's Play 2. Yeah. Because
Andy is 16 in this movie, and
he is a teenager.
I think he was like, at the end of the second movie, he's like 8 or 9. So we had a good jump.
Yeah. And the whole idea with this is that the company making the Good Guy dolls has fallen on hard times because they're never too clear about exactly what happened. But
it's really weird because it's implied that they were like sued a lot.
Because of what happened with Good Guy Dolls, yeah.
Yeah, and it nearly crippled their company. Yeah. But I'm not quite sure exactly like how it happened. I'm not sure if Andy and his family sued him, or if it was like a bunch of just random people saying, "Hey, your dolls like traumatized my child."
That's probably what happened because, media hysteria. People can sue a company for, like, any fucking number of reasons. And you always notice that where someone has a legitimate case, then a whole bunch of people out of nowhere have legitimate cases. Yeah. And they go against the companies. Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. People were cashing in on the hysteria. Yeah. Which I kind of like that idea if they explored it a bit more. Yeah. Like, people, like, hacking their Chucky dolls to say stuff like, ooh, I'm going to kill you, something like that. Yeah. But they don't really touch on that.
Yeah, and you don't exactly feel bad for the corporation either, because they're a
bunch of assholes.
Yeah, they outright sit there and say, Andy's old news. Fuck Andy.
Yeah, who gives a shit that his mom's in a mental institution because of us?
Yeah, no one cares about this fucking kid. Let's go reintroduce this line of dolls to the market. Yeah. Because we're absolute morons.
Yeah. And I will say, the CEO guy dies pretty well. Like, Chucky fucks him up. Yeah. Yeah, because Chucky immediately comes back. Like, it's kind of weird, but essentially, as they're cleaning up the old factory where Chucky died in Child's Play 2, which I'm assuming just Chucky died in it, and to be fair, a guy did die in it too. Yeah. But it's like, they just kind of left immediately. They didn't even bother cleaning up the bleeding, molten mass of flesh and doll that was on the floor that was left of Chucky.
They literally, his body in the intro credits that they have, Chucky's like
lifted up by a claw thing.
Yeah, his like stub of a body's lifted up, and his blood is clearly still pouring, and it pours over the molds for the dolls.
Yeah, and that leads into him being created in a new body with a no whole new doll to play around with.
Yeah.
And all I can say about Child's Play 3 is I like the concept where Chucky's trying to go after Andy, but now he's an adult that knows kind of how the rules work with him and understands and can comprehend things a lot better than a kid.
Yeah.
The problem is, it feels like this was a different movie that got written into being a Child's Play movie.
Yeah, like as we were watching it, you kept picking up on the Full Metal Jacket references.
It really wants to be Full Metal Jacket. It fucking drops lines word for word.
Yeah, word for word.
Yeah, because the whole idea of this is that Andy, because of the events of 1 and 2, has been completely traumatized and is just kind of turned into a... They say he's like some kind of punk, like constantly committing crimes, getting in trouble, but on screen he's kind of a wussy.
Yeah, on screen, Andy's a fucking bitch.
Yeah, on screen he's a bitch, but we're supposed to believe that, yeah, he's this traumatized punk kid, and it's like...
It's like, no, you're not, Andy.
Yeah, no, you're not. But the whole idea of it is he's now in a military school where, you know, he's trying to get his shit together, trying to just adjust and forget about everything that happened and all that. And the setup for the military school, even though it really wants to be Full Metal Jacket, I didn't think was terrible.
No, it's just like everyone in the military school just has like this aura of like, I want something bad to happen to you.
Every single one.
Yeah, whether it's Andy, the love interest that Andy has, or the like wannabe drill sergeant kid.
Yeah, that kid that really wants to be Arlie Army.
Oh yeah.
And not just that, but it's also the fact that this new movie, it does actually expand on kind of a new idea, new interpretation of how Chucky works, and that since he's in a new body, quote unquote, he can now pick anyone else he wants to move his soul into. So he picks a young boy, you know, named Tyler, to kind of fuck around with, and Andy's trying to protect him. I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't really go anywhere that great until the very, very end.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, Andy's just kind of like, oh no, Chucky's gonna do something. He's gonna do something. Chucky's gonna do something. I gotta stop Chucky before he do something. And he just kind of, like, is either pulled away from the search because of just military camp school shit, or just kind of doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie's it's an incredibly slow burn.
Yeah, it's a really slow burn, and there are a lot of points where you're just kind of like, Andy, fucking nut up.
Yeah.
Because there are points where Andy has a fucking pocket knife, and the doll is right in front of him. Some guy is screaming his head off at him, and personally, like, what I would have liked to see is just Andy, he completely ignores them and stabs the shit out of the doll. It doesn't have to work. Maybe Chucky can survive it. He's survived all sorts of other shit.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that you don't really buy the idea that Andy is traumatized by Chucky that much.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some scenes that show it, but others you're just kind of like, fucking man up.
Yeah, there's a bunch of scenes where it's like Andy like standing there in fear at the just the awe of Chucky's presence.
Just seeing the doll freaks him out.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, but like you're also trying to build Andy up as this like badass hero that's like willing to take Chucky on with nothing but a pocket knife, and then he like kind of bitches out of it whenever he actually does see Chucky because some dude's yelling at him.
Yeah, just some random assholes yelling at him, and it'd be one thing if like, because this is something that happens so many times in the movie. Someone takes the doll away from Andy.
Yeah, and Andy's just like, oh, okay, I guess the doll's gone now.
Yeah, because he never tries to like sit down and just say like what he means. Because it's never anything where it's, you know, him saying, oh, please burn that doll, destroy it, get rid of it, whatever. It's always just give me the doll back, give me the doll back. So they think like, you're a grown ass man. Why are you trying to play with toys? Like, all Andy had to say is, I don't give a fuck what you do to that doll. Set it on fire.
Yeah.
Like, kill it. Destroy it.
Yeah, I do like how whenever people kind of like question him about it, and he just kind of replies as like, nah, you wouldn't believe me, because he's been through it enough.
I like that detail where he's just kind of given up on it. He doesn't even bother trying to explain Charles.
Yeah.
Like, I like that. The fact he's just so used to it, he just rolls his eyes and went like, you wouldn't believe me.
Yeah, and even whenever he does have a conversation with another character, and the character's like, you know what, try me, maybe I will believe you. And he's like, okay, there's a living doll that's trying to kill people, and he's like, alright, you know what, yeah, fucking forget it.
Yeah, like they do call on how ridiculous it is, and I will say this about some of the kills, this is definitely leaning a lot more towards comedy.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the kills are just goofy as hell.
Yeah.
Where, I want to say the first one was the dude in the garbage truck.
The first one was the CEO.
Oh yeah, the toy guy. And he strangles him to death with a yo-yo.
Yeah, with a yo-yo.
Yeah. And then he drops that one-liner. It's like, "Don't fuck with the Chuck." It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, within like the first like 5 or 6 minutes of the movie, you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
it picks
okay,
up and
this is definitely a more comedic movie.
Yeah. And then you have the dude in the garbage truck, which that one's a little fucked up.
Yeah, because it's like Chucky's screaming for help to get the guy to stop the thing.
Because he got thrown in the garbage truck.
Yeah, so
And-
he manages to trick the guy who's actually piloting the garbage truck like a fucking mech.
Yeah, to come in and help him, and it's like, this dude literally did nothing but try to help someone he thought was stuck. That's fucked up, Chucky.
Yeah, he's crushed in it and he loses his fucking arm on top of the thing. It's split in half before he dies.
Yeah. And you have the barber dude who... That was like the first, I want to say, legitimate murder, where Chucky like just fucking slices his throat open.
He slits his throat and gives probably the worst one-liner in the entire like series.
Oh, that fucking... It was physically painful.
Yeah, you didn't even know what he was talking about for the second half of the one-liner, where he's like, "It's totally you." You're like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Yeah, you had to explain it to me. It's like, yeah, it's like that thing where chicks get their hair done, and then the stylist goes, "Oh, that's totally you." It's like, oh...
Chucky, no.
Yeah. And the heart attack one, I think, was like really funny.
Yeah, that one was really funny. I thought it was a pretty good one. Chucky's one-liner where he's like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me."
Yeah, it's like, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is kind of another case of like just serial killer sadism, where the build up to the ending, I actually think, is like legitimately kind of twisted.
Yeah.
Where all the ROTC kids are going to do like a practice shooting thing, like a paintball tournament almost.
Yeah. Kinda.
And they're using rifles that have like modified ammo, where it's just paint charges.
Yeah.
And Chucky replaces one team's bullets with like live rounds.
Yeah.
So it's like, holy shit, that's actually kind of fucked up.
Yeah, and I will say this about the movie. Once you get to like the 75% of the way through the movie, where they actually start setting up that, yeah, we're going to go out camping and we're going to have our two sides, red side and the blue side, that's when the movie really picks up.
Yeah, because that's when Chucky just stops fucking around and starts harassing everybody.
He literally has at one point he's holding like a group of people at bay with a fucking hand grenade, making a hostage exchange.
It's something the Joker would do. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
And I love it because he's on the radio and everyone's like, "Who the hell are you?" And he's just like, "Get Andy over here right now."
And they're like, "No, fuck you, like what are you talking about?" And he's like, "Shut the fuck up, get Andy on the phone, I don't want to talk to you."
Yeah, I love it. It's great. Once again, it's Brad Dourif. He fucking steals the show. Again, like, as these movies go on, you just want to see more and more Chucky. You don't give a fuck about the humans. You want Chucky.
Yeah, Brad Dourif definitely, his voice has a presence to it.
Yeah, he understands how to control a scene.
Yeah.
He just fucking chews everything up.
Yeah, I will also say that this movie probably has the most sadistic kill of the series. Not because of like, it's particularly violent, but because like, yeah, the kid who's acting like the drill sergeant.
Yeah.
You like throughout the entire movie, I'm like, I already know how this ends because obviously I've seen all these movies except for I want to say Cult of Chucky. I'm not too sure about it. I hadn't seen one of them, but I remembered that scene, and even going back and rewatching this movie, I'm like, God, this kid just needs to fucking die. I hate him so much.
Yeah, it's pretty satisfying to watch him fucking get shot. It's great.
Yeah, he gets shot, and then it just feels like really brutal because everyone honestly, that seems really, really well done because everyone kind of, aside from Andy, because fuck Andy, everyone reacts in a really realistic way where they're just freaking the fuck out and they just start blaming.
They start blaming Andy.
Yeah, they start like, Andy, what the fuck did you do? It's like, you really think Andy like swapped the entire other team's ammunition?
Yeah, once again, it's those fucking weird jumps in logic where it's like, Andy, what the fuck did you do to the bullets? It's like, what?
Yeah.
Why did you assume it was him?
Yeah, but at least makes sense in this situation because they're all teenagers and they're all flipping the absolute fuck out because someone just died right in front of them. I
wouldn't be so upset at it if everyone and both teams didn't see the killer doll with the hand grenade. Yeah, that's something that really bothered me whenever, because I didn't even think about it going in, but you have this scene where Chucky like. It's not both teams. I think the red team hadn't gotten there yet. But red team showed up last because they just started opening fire on them. Yeah, so they weren't there yet. The blue team was there with Andy while he was making the like hostage trade in the background with a killer doll having a fucking hand grenade. Talking. Yeah, threatening to shoot people. Like,
I don't understand what the fuck is wrong with you. You at this point you should know. Just use those leaps of logic and leap the other direction. That the fucking killer doll is what's the problem.
Yeah, the thing that is very clearly alive.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to believe it's a killer doll, it's a killer midget with a hand grenade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything, yeah, that.
Yeah, and the way they kill Chucky at the end of this one is pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, once again, holy shit, Chucky gets fucked up.
Yeah, they feed him through like a fan at the carnival.
Yeah, Tyler runs away to a carnival to get away from Chucky because he kind of realizes, oh shit, this killer doll wants to get me.
Yeah, after
he spent like 90% of the movie thinking, no, he's my friend.
Yeah, he's my friend, and Andy telling him explicitly, no, he's not.
Yeah, it is a very dangerous thing.
It wants to kill you. You know, maybe the fact that it curses a lot and threatens you a lot
and has a knife.
Yeah, it has a knife would be an indication.
Yeah, but they run into the carnival. They trick Chucky into... Well, Chucky tricks the kid into going to like some kind of like amusement park ride, some kind of Halloween scare type ride.
Yeah.
Where those things jump out at you.
Yeah, boom.
And as they're running around on the ride, Chucky gets half his face chopped off by a fucking scythe.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
Yeah, and like... It's one of those things where he has Tyler in a position where he wants him. He's screaming up the chin as he's horribly injured. Andy is shooting him full of bullets, like blows his arm off, and he's desperately trying to get through the chant.
He's still chanting, and we made the joke that the voodoo god Dembala just wants to fuck Chucky over because he completes that fucking chant,
and it still didn't work.
Yeah,
and then Andy shoots him one last time and flies him straight into the industrial machine, where he's just chopped into pieces.
I think it blows his other leg off, and then you have this scene where he has to rescue the kid Tyler.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to grab him, and Tyler's like, "Here, take this pocket knife you gave me to protect yourself with," and he like stabs Chucky and just yeets him straight into the fan.
Yeah, and he just fucking chops him to pieces.
Yeah.
And then after that, the movie just kind of like peters out and ends.
Yeah, it just kind of ends after that.
Yeah, because it's like, yay, everything, Chucky's dead and all that. And then Andy gets arrested.
Yeah, Andy gets arrested. His love interest is like put in an ambulance because Chucky shot her. Yeah. And it's like, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. And you're like, man, Andy's totally getting framed for all of this.
All of this, even though multiple people once again have seen a killer doll. That kind of gets to the point where it's like, how many times do people have to say, I saw a killer doll that tried to fucking kill me? And people were just like, you people are nuts, even though this has happened like twice already.
Yeah, and like at some point, you gotta find like the body parts, because even at the beginning of the next movie, they have like Chucky's body,
left of him,
like what's left of him and everything, and it's like we saw he had like functioning body parts. He had meat in there. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's like he is very clearly alive.
Yeah. So how does he get around this? How do you get around like a doll that's like filled with meat?
Yeah, and eventually they just kind of stopped questioning it.
Yeah.
Yeah.